When preparing for Aliyah from the United Kingdom, proving Jewish identity requires careful documentation that traces your Jewish lineage or conversion within the British Jewish community context. The Israeli authorities, working through the Jewish Agency's London office and the Ministry of Interior, accept several types of documents to establish this connection, though the process often involves navigating Britain's well-preserved but scattered archival system that spans centuries of Jewish settlement. Religious documents form the cornerstone of most applications, with British synagogue records offering particularly rich documentation due to the UK's long tradition of meticulous record-keeping. If you have a ketubah from your parents or grandparents married in British synagogues, this serves as strong evidence, especially those from established institutions like the Great Synagogue, Bevis Marks, or major provincial synagogues in Manchester, Leeds, or Glasgow. The United Synagogue, Federation of Synagogues, and Reform and Liberal movements maintain extensive marriage records dating back generations. British circumcision certificates carry particular weight because the UK's organised Jewish community has maintained detailed Brit Milah records through the London Beth Din and provincial Batei Din. The Chief Rabbi's office historically oversaw Mohel certification, creating a centralized system of documentation. Many families preserve Brit Milah certificates signed by prominent British Mohels, with some dating back to the Victorian era when Jewish life became more formally organized in Britain. Bar and Bat Mitzvah certificates from British synagogues demonstrate Jewish religious education within the UK's structured Jewish educational system. The Board of Deputies of British Jews historically coordinated Jewish education, while individual synagogues maintained detailed records of religious instruction. Documents from Jews Free School, JFS, Jewish Free School, or other Jewish schools in London, Manchester, or Leeds carry significant weight, as do certificates from Cheddar programs run by British synagogues. British civil records offer unique opportunities for proving Jewish identity, as the UK's registration system has historically been thorough and well preserved. Birth certificates issued by British registrars sometimes note Jewish ceremonies when dual registration occurred, particularly for families who chose both civil and religious registration. Marriage certificates from British register offices that reference prior synagogue ceremonies or note rabbinical witnesses help establish religious identity within the British legal framework. Death certificates issued by British registrars that mention Jewish burial societies, particularly the United Synagogue Burial Society or Sephardi burial grounds, provide valuable evidence. The UK's Jewish cemeteries, from historic sites like Brady Street Cemetery to modern facilities at Bushey or Waltham Abbey, maintain detailed burial records that often span multiple generations of the same families. British census records deserve special attention because of their exceptional preservation and accessibility through the National Archives. The 1841, 1851, 1861, 1871, 1881, 1891, 1901, and 1911 censuses often noted Jewish identity through birthplace listings like Poland, Russia, or Austria-Hungary for Jewish immigrants, while some enumerators specifically recorded religion. Census records showing Yiddish as the household language or occupations like Hebrew teacher or kosher butcher help establish Jewish identity within British society. Synagogue records from British institutions provide crucial documentation through membership lists, seat rental agreements, and synagogue marriage registers. The United Synagogue maintains extensive archives, while individual synagogues like the New West End, St. John's Wood, or major provincial synagogues in Manchester's Higher Broughton area keep detailed records. Marriage registers signed by British rabbis and witnessed by synagogue officials create official religious documentation recognized by both British and Israeli authorities. British Jewish educational records offer comprehensive documentation through institutions that have served the community for generations. Academic records from Jews College, now part of London School of Jewish Studies. Leo Beck College, or Manchester's Jewish Studies programs demonstrate Jewish educational commitment. School records from Hasmonean High School, JFS, King David Schools in Manchester and Liverpool, or Yavne College show family choices consistent with Jewish identity maintenance. For conversion documentation within the British context, certificates from the London Beth Din, Manchester Beth Din, or other recognized British rabbinical courts carry weight with Israeli authorities. The Chief Rabbi's office historically oversaw conversions, creating centralized documentation. Reform and liberal conversion certificates from recognized British movements, while sometimes requiring additional scrutiny, demonstrate Jewish identity within Britain's diverse Jewish community. British military records can provide unexpected evidence of Jewish identity. Service records from both world wars sometimes noted religious preference, particularly for soldiers requiring kosher rations or Jewish chaplain services. The Jewish Military Museum and Anglo-Jewish Archives maintain records of Jewish service members, while regimental histories occasionally document Jewish personnel. National service records from the post-war period sometimes include religious notation. Immigration records for families arriving in Britain offer valuable documentation, particularly through passenger manifests at British ports. The National Archives holds extensive immigration records showing Jewish families arriving from Eastern Europe, often with notation of Jewish identity or religious preference. Naturalization records processed through British authorities frequently required character references from Jewish community leaders or synagogue officials. British Jewish organizational records provide comprehensive community involvement documentation. The Board of Deputies of British Jews maintains membership records for affiliated synagogues and organizations. Women's International Zionist Organization, WIZIO, UK branch records, British Friends of Hebrew University documentation, or Jewish National Fund records show ongoing connection to Jewish causes. Anglo-Jewish Association membership, Jewish Care volunteer records, or involvement with Jewish charities create additional evidence trails. Professional records within Britain's Jewish community offer specialized documentation. Membership in the Association of Jewish Refugees, documentation from careers with Jewish Chronicle, Jewish Telegraph, or other Jewish publications, or professional involvement with Jewish institutions like the Jewish Museum London or Manchester Jewish Museum demonstrate community engagement. Kosher supervision certificates for British food businesses or membership in British kashrut organizations establish religious practice. British Jewish genealogical resources provide extensive research opportunities through organizations like the Jewish Genealogical Society of Great Britain, the Wiener Library, London Metropolitan Archives, Jewish Collections, and Manchester Jewish Museum Archives contain family records spanning centuries. The Jewish Historical Society of England maintains documentation of British Jewish families, while local archives in areas with significant Jewish populations like Golders Green, Stamford Hill, or Manchester's Jewish communities preserve community records. Educational documentation from British universities can supplement religious evidence. Records from Jewish societies at Oxford, Cambridge, or London universities, participation in Jewish student organizations, or academic work in Jewish studies at British institutions demonstrate ongoing Jewish identity. Scholarship records from Jewish charitable trusts or educational foundations show community recognition of Jewish status. British synagogue auxiliary records provide detailed community involvement evidence. Ladies' guilds, synagogue brotherhoods, or youth group participation in organizations like B'nai B'rith UK or Jewish Lads and Girls Brigade create comprehensive documentation. Participation in British Jewish cultural organizations, amateur dramatic societies performing Jewish-themed productions, or involvement with Jewish book festivals demonstrates cultural engagement. Local authority records from British councils sometimes contain relevant information, particularly for families involved in Jewish community leadership. Council records noting appointments to interfaith committees, participation in Holocaust Memorial Day events, or involvement in Jewish-Christian relations committees establish community recognition of Jewish identity. School governing body records from Jewish schools or local authority consultation documents regarding Jewish community needs provide additional evidence. British Jewish cemetery records offer multi-generational documentation through burial societies that have operated for centuries. The United Synagogue maintains comprehensive burial records, while Sephardi community burial grounds and Reform movement cemeteries preserve detailed family information. Memorial Mason records, synagogue memorial books, or yard site lists maintained by British synagogues create ongoing documentation of Jewish practice. Financial records within the British context sometimes reveal Jewish identity through distinctive charitable giving patterns. Tax records showing donations to British Jewish charities, synagogue membership fee payments, or contributions to Jewish educational institutions establish religious commitment. Bank records showing standing orders to Jewish organizations or mortgage records for properties in predominantly Jewish areas like Golders Green or Prestwich help establish community connection. British Jewish newspaper archives provide additional evidence through family announcements in publications like Jewish Chronicle, Jewish Telegraph, or Jewish News, birth announcements, marriage notices, obituaries, or community event coverage mentioning family members create documented evidence of Jewish community participation spanning decades. The process requires understanding Britain's unique archival landscape, where centuries of Jewish settlement have created extensive but sometimes scattered documentation. Professional genealogists familiar with British Jewish records understand which repositories hold relevant materials, from the National Archives to local record offices, synagogue archives, and specialized Jewish collections. The well-documented nature of British Jewish life, combined with excellent record preservation, often provides multiple sources of evidence for families making Aliyah from the United Kingdom.